In this Tech Talk, I am exploring the concept of a sole source provider for packaging from products to pallets with Josh Becker, product manager for bakery and confection at Harpak-ULMA. Hi, Josh. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Joanie. As always, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about sole source providers. And I guess the first question that I have is, can you just kind of explain to me what you mean by a sole source provider and why this is something that can be beneficial to some bakery providers?
Yeah, certainly, Joanie. That's a great question to start off with. And so what I mean when I say we at Harpak-ULMA are a sole source provider, it means we are one company to manufacture and supply all integrated unit operations of a particular packaging system. So we like to call it, like you mentioned, our product to pallet solutions. And for the baking industry, why not say you bake it and then we take it? And so I think the benefit that it will provide to some of our bakery customers is, we always talk about labor. And when you're doing like an automation project, a lot of times you're focusing on the labor that you're either reallocating within your facility, or you just can't find the people to work on the front line. But there's also a labor scarcity in the technical roles for our customers. Lack of engineering groups or struggle to find engineering technical resources to work on automation projects. So you see more and more third-party engineering firms and consultants developing solutions for customers, frankly, because the end users don't have the technical staff to deploy to those automation projects, as they're really focused on the day-to-day and keeping their existing operations in production.
So I have a question about questions. I was just talking to a baker the other day. He had installed a completely brand new line, and he was telling me how long he and his team took to really examine their needs before they even commissioned any equipment. So from your perspective, before a baker commissions any equipment, what are some of the questions that they should be asking themselves to really know if a sole source provider is the right option for them?
It's going to start off with that baker kind of asking themselves, kind of what's the scope of their project? I mean, if they're looking at, one unit operation, and not a really large project, sometimes sole source isn't the right way to do it. But when they're talking about two or more unit operations of a packaging line, the interconnecting, putting some automation towards it, I mean, that's where it's going to lend itself to being a sole source. So some of the questions they want to really consider is, as they look for their packaging line automation, what's important to them? Is it important to them to have a common control platform throughout the entire packaging line? Do they want to deal with one supplier, or you hear the saying, one throat to choke on your project, or are they okay with dealing with multiple suppliers? It's really sometimes a preference for our customers what they have the capabilities of doing. And then I think they have to look at what are they producing for their product and how much time is available when it comes to installation in their facility to take the line down. That's a key question they need to ask, that sometimes a sole source provider can help minimize the downtime on their project when they actually do go for installation. And then are they looking just for packaging machinery, or what's the future of their packaging operation? Are they looking for a partner to kind of help them in this project, future projects, and kind of looking for standardization? And I think they really also need to think through, what is the future of how they want to do maintenance in their facility? Because sometimes, a sole source provider can provide benefits in continuity of parts and contacts and resources as they grow in future other automation projects. But what's also important that we want to discuss, with our bakers is, we look at a project today, and that solves today's problem with, either increased production or labor. But the baker needs to think about, well, what do they need that line to do 5 years down the road? What do they need from their facility 10 years down the road? Our machines are becoming smarter machines as the technology changes. And sometimes it's just a software improvement, not necessarily a hardware improvement. We're just changing software and making those machines smarter for our customers. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're getting to. And that's kind of why we want to have discussions with customers and kind of find out, is this the best solution for them?
So it's, packaging's at the end of the line, obviously, but it requires so much soul searching on the operation overall to really understand what your needs are and what problems need to be solved, and ask yourself those hard questions. So, sole source provider obviously is an area where HarpakULMA has great expertise. So how do you address some of these questions that bakers are asking themselves? And how does a sole source provider offer a solution and help in these areas?
Sure. There's a couple of concepts I want to make sure that we share and talk about is one, because I said we can be a technical resource for our bakery customers. That kind of then helps us kind of work together with our customers to kind of help develop the solution, develop the packaging line. And as we're doing that, we're going to develop a 3D concept of the entire scope of our supply. And what that does, it helps us meet with operations teams and their maintenance team to kind of look at, hey, what will this equipment look like when it's installed? And when you do it in 3D, you can see access points for operators. Maybe how do they feed materials to the line? You can really call out some of those challenges that exist after you install machinery early on in the project, because you get much more visual. And when we control the entire piece of the project, it's easier for us to kind of work with our customers to design the right system. But also, one of the biggest benefits that I think we offer as a sole source provider is because we're manufacturing all those unit operations, we are able to take the entire system and set it up in our factory for a full line FAT. This way, each unit operation can be integrated and tested as one fully integrated system in our factory before it ships and installs at our customers' factories. With our factory experts to fine tune, that integrated solution before the customer signs off on their FAT. And, if you ask yourself, well, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of that is quicker installation in the factory. So less integration time on site. So as a baker, you want to be back up in full production as soon as possible. Our bakers don't have warehouses full of products and months of supply of their finished goods just waiting to be distributed. In the fresh market, you got to make it and go, and then you're on your next sales day. It's a crazy industry, and downtime is such a premium.
Right. I mean, time really is money in our industry. So I love the technology that you guys are using. How can a baker kind of reach out to you? And what are the sort of first steps for a baker to be able to take a really deep dive to truly understand if sole source provider is a viable option for them?
The best way for our baker is just reach out and contact us. Next week is Pack Expo in Chicago. So if bakers didn't meet with us at IBE, but still have time to catch our booth at Pack Expo in Chicago, or they reach out to myself, our local sales manager, to schedule a meeting. We've got a customer experience center in Taunton, Massachusetts, where our headquarters are. Or, hop a flight to Spain and see our great technologies in action at our factory over in Spain. Many ways for them to get in touch with us.
That's awesome. Well, Josh, thanks so much for taking time to talk to me about this. I really learned a lot, and I appreciate your time and thorough explanation.
Great. Thanks, Joanie. Always a pleasure.